Okay, so let's talk about this, right? Let's go in full rant mode. My problems with Ultimate and like the state of Ultimate, my current thoughts on Ultimate, whatever the fuck. Let's just get it all out there. So, because people have been asking me, and I just want to have a video out there properly addressing what I think, my views on the game and stuff like that. Okay, so to begin with, I have played a lot of fucking Ultimate in my day. Probably over 1,000 hours on this console alone, not to mention all the tournaments, all the videos I watched, all the YouTube content I made. So I have given this game a fair chance. Before I start, we have an argument to talk about. Someone's going to say, well, it's so obvious. Melee players, they come into the new game, they milk it for money, and then they leave. In other words, we tried the game, we gave it a best shot, we found flaws, and then we stopped playing it. We didn't like enter a blood pact and like stay glued to the monitor for 16 hours a day because it's made by Nintendo or something. We're not forcing ourselves to play a game we don't like. Okay, yeah, great argument. If Melee players didn't play Ultimate, then people would be like, you didn't even try the game, you can't talk about Ultimate. Now that we did, it's like, oh, you're milking the game, and now you're leaving because there's not as much money left in it, or whatever the fuck. Next up is the argument, well, Melee isn't perfect either. No one said Melee is perfect. I think Melee is an amazing fucking game, but it has clear flaws. It was made 20 or so years ago now. The fact that it has flaws does not excuse Ultimate's flaws. In fact, both of them can have the same flaws, and in that case, you know, maybe that's even more reason for why it shouldn't exist. Flaws that have existed since Melee should no longer exist in Ultimate. The fact that we can't have like a decent stage list where like, you know, Pokemon Stadium people can fall through in Melee, and in Ultimate, people can still fall through PS1, which is ridiculous. How have they not fixed that stage? Stuff like that, right? It's not an excuse, it's a fucking sequel. Of course we're gonna compare it to the earlier games. That said, just because Melee has a flaw or does something better doesn't necessarily mean that Ultimate needs to do it differently or needs to copy it exactly. It's just a comparison between two games that you can use sometimes. People compare Ultimate and Brawl and Smash 4 to Melee because Melee is the best Smash game considered by many, and it's, you know, the first Smash game that came out and really like set the tone for the entire series. Smash 64, yeah, it's a great beta, but like it has so many apparent flaws, and it was kind of like an early build, and Melee came out so shortly after and basically did everything 64 wanted to, but better. So of course people are not going to be like comparing Ultimate to 64. That's kind of ridiculous, I think. And I also don't think that everyone needs to consider Melee the best Smash game. If you think Brawl is better, that's fine. My personal Smash ranking list is like, as games, is like Melee, Brawl, 64, Ultimate, Smash 4. That's just an overall game for its time, not like game if I were to play it now. There's no reason really to play 64 right now. There's no reason to really play Brawl over Ultimate. But for their time, I think Brawl, while it did take a massive step backwards competitively, had good single player in terms of subspace and also a lot of other good modes. It still had target tests. As you can clearly see, there's no such thing. It had home run contest, events, a functioning stage builder, about as good online. Better online for its time. A better fucking theme song, trophies, classic games. It had so much more stuff to do, especially for its time, that like, even though I don't consider it that fun to play, you know, Brawl is still a great game. Like, for casuals at the time, it's amazing. And it took what Melee did and tried to make it more accessible. Did they go too overboard? Fuck yeah. But like, I don't think Brawl is really the problem with Ultimate or Smash 4. I think Sakurai should have seen what the problems that happened with Brawl and should have taken more drastic measures. What he did was like slight modifications to the Brawl formula instead of actually like changing major things. It's all more like a patch or expansion of Brawl. It's very, very iterative in terms of how the combat and how the actual fighting is in the sequels to Brawl. Do I think Ultimate sucks? No. Do I think Ultimate is a great game? Sometimes. Do I think Ultimate has insane potential? Fuck yeah. Do I think Ultimate is boring as fuck to play online? Yes. Do I think Ultimate has terrible online? Yes. Do I think Ultimate has the worst online of any AAA game I've ever played? Fuck yeah. Do the patches suck? Fuck yeah. Do the stage builders suck? Fuck yeah. Does the UI suck, forcing us to reselect characters after every fucking game? Fuck yeah. Is it insane that we still can't get like more than 5 good stages because they don't make small stages? Yeah. Is World of Light good? Fuck no. Is Spirits good? Fuck no. At least to me, these all suck. Is the shop good? No. Like, I feel like so many things of Ultimate kinda suck. The good thing about Ultimate is the improvements to the combat or the gameplay, whatever the fuck you call it. Like, the core gameplay is much improved. How much is improved is up for debate, I think. People that liked Smash 4 but didn't love Smash 4, I think this is the perfect game for you. Like, you know, it's a bit harder to play, a bit more freedom, but still being very simple and not being too hard to get into. Has all the characters, a lot of stages. Not all the stages, actually. The graphics are good. The music is... Like, the music is great, but there's so many bad songs in it. Like, the best songs in Ultimate are really fucking good. There's so many bad songs that unless you go into music and, like, you tailor your specific setup and choose which good songs and bad songs are on, like, you know, it's not that good. And a lot of the legals, they just don't have the best songs on. But yeah, music is good. Like, it's technically better than Brawl and Smash 4 just because there's more. I would argue that a lot of the remixes, such as Cynthia remix, Gladian remix, like the main theme, a lot of the Smashville songs, yeah, a lot of the new remixes kind of fucking suck. And if you think Cynthia's theme is better than the original, you're a pleb with no taste. There's really good things in Ultimate. There's a lot of improvements, but there's so much that just feels almost done. It feels like if they cared a little bit more, it could be amazing. And some people will see this video or this talk as just complaining, just whining. But the thing is, I wouldn't even bother to whine about a game that didn't have potential, right? This is not just a boring ass game that like couldn't go anywhere. This is a game where like it really has potential, but because of Nintendo and because of the community accepting garbage and buying the game regardless, we're unlikely to see it happen. And yeah, I don't know, like I didn't even bother making any of these type of videos or talks on Smash 4. Why? Because I thought Smash 4 was so bad that there's no way it could be saved. Like, just playing Smash 4 felt terrible to me, so like I didn't even bother whining because there was nothing to save. Yeah, there's so many problems. Like I think I could rant for hours upon hours. In fact, I probably have. If you take all my streaming, all of the various problems, the buffer, the core input lag, the balance in characters, the patches, the online. But I think, you know, my main 2 problems that I have with Ultimate right now and why I no longer consider it like that fun to play anymore and practice the game is two reasons. Now, all these other reasons, such as the game being like relatively shallow, very few like deep characters, bad stage builder, bad stages, all those things are like, you know, they add to it. And if everything was fixed, I would love Ultimate and like push through. But the 2 biggest reasons I have for disliking Ultimate and not wanting to spend as much time playing it kind of just like make all those other reasons even more annoying and even more like frustrating to deal with. And they are, 1, the online. Basically everyone knew this, but like, yeah, in a game with this many characters, with this many matchups, playing a game competitively when you can't reliably access a lot of players is like, it's not fun. Like, I feel like that when I enter a tournament, it's like pure RNG whether or not I do well, because there's so many matchups I just don't know. And even if I know them at a basic level, I don't know them at a high level. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why the results are so inconsistent, even though people have had, you know, all of Smash 4 to help with their matchup experience. Obviously, I didn't have Smash 4, but it feels so hard for me living in Sweden to catch up because I can't play all these characters. Like I can't find good players of all these characters. And yeah, maybe I won't find a Duck Hunt as good as Raito, and maybe I won't find a D3 as good as Saki, but you know, I can get something if the online was better, if there were more people playing online. When I go online now, like I don't even get many different people playing. This is the most selling video fighting game of all time, beating out Brawl within like 4 months. It sold like 14 million copies already, I think. And when I play online in Europe, peak hours, I get like 4 or 5 different opponents. That's fucking crazy. Like, talk about what you want with how bad the online feels to play. The fact that I only get 4 to 5 opponents already is insane. When I go onto the high level European Discord and ask for matches, I like can't get a match. Like I can ask on my Smurf for Melee on Anther's Ladder or any of the big Discords and get like several people at like 6 a.m. in the morning, but like I can't find matches. It's insane. Like it's not only that the online feels terrible to play, it's you can't legitimately find matches. And obviously, a lot of the time when you do find a match, they're playing on McDonald's Wi-Fi, they're playing Ganondorf, or if you're lucky, you'll get a wolf that laser camps only and only sights V's onto stage. It becomes so frustrating to try to compete in a game where like the online environment, not only the online netcode, but the online environment is so garbage. And like, if the online environment was like, everyone's just in battle arenas, right? Just grinding it out and doing winner stays, right? Regardless of the fact that the online has like insane amounts of lag added on top of it, like you could at least get decent practice in. You know, it wouldn't be a accurate representation or anything, but it'd be something. Like look at this, it's 8 p.m. in Sweden, public arenas, one-on-one. That's the only thing. We can actually, you know, let's go any off on spirits. So okay, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 of these are 4-player Smash, obviously made for super casuals. One of these is team battle, and 2 of them are one-on-one. One is playgrounds and one is all skill levels. So there's 6 people, 6 in my region, playing one-on-one battles right now of a game that sold 14 million copies. How? Obviously, it probably doesn't show the completely full arenas, but like generally, you don't even find like arenas at all. If you don't search at peak times, you don't find any arenas. If I create an arena, I get like the same 4 or 5 people. And now someone will say, oh, it's Sweden. All they do is blah, blah, blah. Oh, it's Europe. This game sold more in the US and Japan. Fuck you, man. This is not the case for any other fighting game, any other video game I ever play. Stop talking to me like you live in Europe. I do. I have experience with so many fighting games, so many video games, and I know that this is not the fucking standard, especially not for a game that sells 14 million copies. It's ridiculous. To recap, the online is the main problem. This is the biggest problem. The biggest problem. It makes competing awful because I can't stream and play at the same time. I have to individually invite people over. I don't live in a very big space, so it's cumbersome for me to invite people over. And in general, I want to be able to, like, you know, play from 8 a.m. to 6 or 5. Like, ideally, I want to stream from like 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., right? But there's no one online at all if I stream those hours. And even if I, you know, let's say I cater my lifestyle to play Ultimate, like I only stream from 5 p.m. to 11, where I can probably find a match. Maybe 12 if I'm lucky. That's still not enough. That's still not enough for me. And that means fucking over my sleep schedule completely. Like, yeah. I can't reliably play this game to get practice, like, let alone how good that practice is. And then obviously the netcode is so insanely garbage. Like, if I find even one person saying the online is fine, I'm about to fucking lose it. Anyone, trust me on this, anyone that says the online is not that bad or fine is one, trolling you, or two, too fucking stupid to notice. Those are the only two people that say online is fine. The online is not fine. It's fucking garbage. Absolute garbage. The worst online, both in terms of netcode and online structure, of any AAA game of this size ever for its time, obviously. Like, yeah, you can go back and find games that barely had function online that had worse, but yes, you know. Okay, so that's obviously something everyone whines about. And do I think it will be fixed? No. I think they might make it slightly better. Slightly. Do I ever think Nintendo will add ranked? Add, you know, like when you connect to someone, you can see if they're using Wi-Fi or Ethernet and how good your ping is. No. Maybe they'll be better at using their algorithm to like take away people that use shitty connections. Maybe they'll improve Battle Arena slightly, but honestly, if I've learned anything from Nintendo, from playing a Nintendo game as my job for the past 4 years and being a Nintendo fan since basically birth, it's that Nintendo does not give a flying fuck about us. They host tournaments with items on. They try to take us away from Evo. They don't listen to any pro players when it comes to actually making changes. Maybe they take slight info from the like 3 they hired in Japan, but trust me when I say this. Nintendo might do great things and they make spectacular single player games and even spectacular multiplayer games sometimes, but they do not give a fuck about us, the competitive scene, the diehards. They aim for mass appeal and mass appeal only. They don't care, at least not enough, about the people that care the most about them, that really, really, truly care about their game and try to push it to the limit. They don't care. And they will never care. It doesn't make financial sense for them, I guess, but yeah. Regardless, people that stay and hope for the online to get better, you will be faced with disappointment and misfortune. You're not going to get a reality where Nintendo actually creates a good online. If they did, they would have fucking made online good initially. They already sold 14 million copies. Probably a large majority of those that could consider buying the character pass already bought the character pass. There's no reason for them to make the online better. The only way, and I'm going to say this, the only way that we get good online is if we work towards creating better online structures such as Anthos Ladder, and if we work on emulating the console, basically hacking the game to make our own online. It's fucked that a multi-billion-dollar company, I think, can't do basic things right and just make yeah, but that's just the reality. Like, unless people take it into their own hands to make the online good, then the online for Ultimate will stay bad. It might get less horrendous, but it will continue being bad. Trust me on this. I will fucking do whatever you want if the online actually becomes good or even acceptable. So that is reason 1 of why I won't keep playing Ultimate. Now, number 2 might get a bit controversial, but I'm gonna say this in the nicest way possible, and this is just my opinion. It's not the objective truth. This is not just how it is, and I'm still open to things changing. But when the online is this bad, what can we do, right? Like, some games never had online. Melee, old fighting games, we never had acceptable online. Marvel 3 that I played and KOF 13 did not have good online. But the thing is that in some ways that was a blessing, right? In some ways, the lack of online actually made Melee and other fighting games survive longer and create a tighter knit community because we were forced to interact in person. The thing with Ultimate is I feel like that doesn't happen. The second reason why I'm not taking Ultimate as seriously anymore, basically. I might play tournaments, but like I'm not dying to be the best. It's because the community it's rare. I want to say this, it's not common, but it's not good enough to make up for the bad online. It doesn't feel like it tries to compensate and tries to fight against the terribleness that is online. people just kind of sit up and whine about the online, but when you play these games with Battle Online and you go to events, you find people that like, let's fucking play, let's grind. Like, yeah, online sucks, but let's fucking grind, let's play. Now that we have the chance to play the game properly, let's all sit down and grind. Let's give each other tips. You know, there's a lot of passion in person. But the thing is that when you play this game offline, I feel like, yeah, people play it, but like, there's not that sense of community, and there's not any sense of grind. There's no sense of like, shit, the online does suck, we need to grind. So I start to wonder, like, am I the only one that thinks the online is bad? Why are you not using this opportunity? You're at a major, why is no one playing? Why are all the setups dead? We're like the large majority. There's 800 people here, and like most setups have like maximum 2 people. Like, I'm used to every setup when I go to a major being like 4 people in line, like everyone's trying to play. And before someone says anything, like, this goes all the way up to top players. Like, I've been to Valhalla, Genesis, Summit, Pound, and Prime Saga, all insanely stacked events. It's common that warm-up stations for stream, where there's like 3 or 4 setups, are empty mid top 32 for Ultimate. Yeah, you could argue, oh, you don't need to warm up that much, whatever the fuck, but you do need to practice. People are not practicing very hard on average. Of course there are hard grinders, and in fact I think there's a lot of up and coming players that maybe don't come from Smash 4 or weren't that good in Smash 4 that really do grind it out, and I expect those people to start upsetting the top level players soon. But as of right now, the general community doesn't feel like they're trying to improve that hard. I don't feel the same level of passion, and maybe that's just because I'm biased towards a particular passion that Melee, Dragon Ball, KOF, Marvel, Street Fighter, and those games have. But yeah, I haven't really felt like this with any other fighting game other than Street Fighter V. Street Fighter V was in many ways the same way, where people were kind of passionate about 4, at least the people towards the end of it, but it's the same feeling of like early Street Fighter V, where people go to the tournaments, they play their games, and then they sit and watch, or they go out to eat, and then they just leave. Like, there's no one on the setups once the tournament's done, and everyone kind of just whines about the game or like talks down about the game. And it's just kind of this depressing feeling where it feels like people are there just to be there, and they're not even particularly happy to be there. Of course, this is personal anecdotes, but I think this is just something I've sensed, and like, you know, I think I can be expected to go to more tournaments and just keep looking for, oh, what's this community here? Someone's gonna say, oh, you don't know every Ultimate player, but like, I can't be expected to have spent 5 years with every single Ultimate player, you know, just to make a general feeling, kind of like, to not give my opinion on how I think the general communities are. Like, you really, I think, don't have to go that far into both. It doesn't have to be the Melee scene, but just like any Ultimate scene and into any big like generic fighting game or Dota or CS, like that type of passion, that type of grind that I really want in a community, especially again a community that has terrible online. I just feel like it's not there. That's sounds very harsh, and I'm really not trying to pin this on any one person, because I don't think it's on any one person. I think it's completely understandable that not everyone wants to put in the amount of hours required to be the best. You know, it's why I always say that it's okay for Zero not to want to compete again. And I can honestly see why Zero doesn't want to compete again when this is the majors. 850 people went to this tournament. Joker got released the same week. It's middle of the day, 3.0, no one's on the setups. People give excuses. Oh, well, the people that wanted to grind, they were at church, in school, at home, labbing Joker. But the reality of it is, that's not true. Most of those things all apply to other fighting games too. This was 3.0 days after release. There were like 8 3.0 setups and they were empty a lot of the time. I don't know about you guys, but that's not what I want to see. That's like a big ass turnoff when there's no passion for the game. Not no passion, but like less passion. I'm spoiled because I legitimately think that some of the communities I've been in have been amazing. Dragon Ball, the fighting game, like Marvel, KOF, Smash, Melee, they've all had insane scenes. But yeah, I just really wish there were more people excited about the game. One of the things that always drags me back, whenever I'm not excited about a game, I always get really competitive and like fired up because other people are. If other people are posting tech, they're posting, you know, content, they're excited about the game, they're grinding it out, then I feel like shit, I also want to do this. I also want to be this good. But although this happens to a certain degree, I feel like it doesn't happen to the amount I want it. And this is, you know, very selfish. Like other people will not feel like this. That's great for you. I'm just speaking from, this is my like personal rant, right? Like when I go to tournaments, since the online is so bad and because I don't live in a good scene, I want to see people grind. I don't want the setups by the stream during top 32 to be empty. Am I saying that they should be, or like that they have to be occupied at all times? No, they don't have to be, but I would like them to be. I would like them to be. That's all this is what I want. And I want a scene where either the online works so I can decide to grind, or that when I go to offline events, other people are down to grind. That's all. It's just my personal opinion. No, the new game doesn't have to be like Melee. They just need to address the problems this game has. Do pro players grind? More than the average player, but compared to other fighting games, Ultimate players are the people that play the least out of any fighting game I've played. Oh yeah, Caliber Champ. So his comment is, I asked some pro players to play in friendlies, then they said, how much money you got? And I said, I don't money match. So that was the end of that. When people come up to me at Ultimate events, they ask, yo, do you want a money match? And what I say is, I don't money match. Like, I don't know, like maybe this is from a privileged position, but since I make enough from Twitch, from like all you guys supporting me, I don't need to money match to make rent. And so I don't money match people because, you know, like I don't want to play people that spend like 20, that feel like they need to spend 20 bucks or 30 bucks to get a best of 3 with me. Because the problem isn't, you know, the money, it's just that I don't have time. And there are so many people really surprised with me that like, oh wait, you don't money match like low level people? Like, I respect that. I'm like, what do? So I always ask like, wait, so like other top players, they only play you if they can money match you? What? I don't know. I mean, I guess like you can money match people, but I just feel like that's kind of weird, right? Like it's legitimately a pro player just taking money. For me, I just like to play fans whenever I have time, and generally at Melee players, when I go to Melee events, I have so many people like if I sit down and play, I'm not trying to brag here. This is actually something I don't personally love. When I sit down at Melee events, I'll have like a lot of people line up. If I say that I'm taking matches, like I can get 15-20 people generally at most times line up eventually. When I play at Ultimate, I was actually very often just sitting and playing with 2 or 3 people at most, which was refreshing in that sense, but yeah, still, it shows the difference. I'm also a bigger name in Melee. People always make that argument, but when it comes to being big names, yeah, I'm not the best player in Ultimate, but I'm one of the biggest names in Melee. If you look at the stream titles, it's not that hard to see. It's generally like Shuton, MK Leo, Tweak, Leffen. Even when I lose in pools, like, come on. There's not huge lines to play Leo either, if that's what you're asking. But yeah, like, I want everyone to realize that, like, I truly do want Ultimate to be better. I might whine about it, but I still do try to play. I give it a fair chance. Like, I really, 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 really want Ultimate to be good. It's just that whenever I stream it, it turns into this. It turns into a rant or me getting angry over online. It legitimately is annoying for me to play Ultimate because it's just that bad of an experience. The only games I've ever had that bad of a time with is like Kingdom Hearts 3 and like some parts of Sekiro. Those are like legitimately the only times I've ever been as mad at a game in recent memory that I've been at Ultimate.